Last week, I posed a question to the gardening community. Should I or should I not hack back at this marvellous grapevine that's grown inside my greenhouse? And the answer was unanimously, or nearly unanimously, a yes. Hack it back, go harsh, take as much off as I possibly can. I think one person said leave it, but everyone else said hack it back, take as much off as you can. It won't harm it. In fact, they're so vigorous, it'll probably try and grow even more by the fact that I'm cutting it back. But it needs to be chopped back. Why, you might ask? Well, it's gone absolutely crazy, but it's starting to cast a shadow onto the other plants that I've got grown inside this greenhouse. I've got my tomatoes, I've got peppers, I've got a pomegranate, I've got cucumbers, and I've got melons. And all of these plants need maximum light to help them grow to their full potential. So that's why I'm chopping it back. It also gets very, very matted and intertwined, which can actually bring disease because that will harness lots of bacteria in there, or it could get in, causing rot and blight and other things like that. So I need to thin it for the light, thin it for the airflow, and thin it for the overall health of my grapevine. I don't think I thought this through when I originally planted this grapevine in. This side is fine. That side has got most of the bunches of grapes on it. But this side, that is where the sun is. It comes up behind me and goes around that side. So this is the side that I really want to clear. And I'm going to do that today. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it to make sure you don't damage your overall health of your grapevine. But I'm going to take it all off and then show you exactly how it looks at the end. I might have to sacrifice a few bunches of grapes, but I'm going to try my best to avoid that. But overall, this will really benefit not just my grapevine, but all the plants inside my greenhouse. So let's get on with it. Okay, as you can see, we do have bunches of grapes in there, but that is already casting masses of shadows. So I'm going to be taking all of this off. This side is what's going to be getting removed, but I will be thinning out the roof. Again, very dark up there. And then along this side, we've got tons and tons of bunches of grapes, all looking very, very nice. I normally get between 50 to 60 bunches of grapes every year. This is the seedless white Lakemont variety. Very, very vigorous. This has been in now for about 10 years, and I always get a good harvest. But you can see, look how much growth is up there. I don't want this smashing through my panes of glass, and I also don't want this to just completely take over everything. I think next year, well, I think in the winter, so this is where it comes in. It's planted outside, comes in through this little gap. Hopefully you can see that little hole in the glass. Comes inside and then forks either way and goes all the way around. And I think in the winter when it's dormant, I am actually going to chop off this main trunk and basically just not have it across this side at all. But for now, I'm just going to thin it out and really, really let the light in. As you can see, some of these big tendrils or shoots, they've grown to be about 4 feet in the last month or so. So they're going to be coming off. So the best way to do it is literally find the pieces that you want to remove. You can even see from outside that it's grown through the panes of glass, and as they swell and as those branches get thicker and bigger, they will literally push against the panes of glass and smash it. It's even coming out the end and wrapping around my solar fans. So all that needs taking off. That's again blocking the airflow going in through my greenhouse. Make sure you've got some nice, clean, sharp secateurs, and then just follow it right back. Because there's no bunches of grapes on this one, I'm going to take that right back to the main trunk, and we'll just snip it off. It often intertwines with everything else, so the first few you take off can be a bit tricky. I've also just got to watch that I don't damage my tomatoes down here as I chop them off. I don't want these landing on my plants beneath and then breaking them. But again, we've got some over here. There's no bunches of grapes in there. So again, I'm just going to snip it right back here, and then that should come out. And the one you want to take off, snip. And there it is. Look, this one has actually already started tying itself onto itself, basically, climbing up the main trunk. But I'm going to start this end and go along. As I said before, eventually I think I'm going to take all of this side off, so that the light can massively come in here. You can see the sun is up. Well, it's up there somewhere. There it is, behind those clouds, trying to get through, but this is what's casting the shadow. So I'm just going to make my way around, then I'll show you what it's going to look like when I've taken all this side off. Okay, I've only been going at this for 5 minutes. Already you can see how much growth I've taken off. That is a ridiculous amount, but already I can see through these panes of glass much easier. You can see the difference between this side with not much foliage covering it versus the side I haven't got to yet, which is casting lots of shadows all over those plants. So now it's time to get chopping away at this side. Okay, I'm just going to start with taking off these big ones, especially the ones which haven't got bunches of grapes on. That'll just then help me see where we are. And these tendrils, they're literally wrapping themselves around. Because they're a vine and they like to climb, these little tendrils are literally clinging to and wrapped around everything, making it much more difficult. But you just got to follow it down, make sure there's no grapes on it, or make sure it's not the shoot that you want to remove, and then just snip it straight off. Some of these branches I'm taking off, you can literally stick those into a pot or a container full of compost, stick it down the side. If you've got some rooting hormone, put that on the end of it, and then you will just be, you basically take a cutting from it and produce a new grapevine at the end of the day. I've done multiple of these already. But back to this, snipping it all off. Anything which hasn't got any bunch of grapes on is coming off. I am being quite harsh with this. If you're wondering, it is middle of June, so this is the ideal time to give this grapevine its first good haircut. You can already see much more light coming in here now, and this is how much I've chopped off. That is in the space of about 6 weeks. Unbelievable. Right, that is now complete, at least for today. So on the right hand side, all cleared off apart from the odd few bunches of grapes that I am going to leave on this year. I just can't bear to take any bunches off. But as you can see, as we go down, there isn't actually that many bunches on this side anyway. So it's almost like the vine itself prefers to grow its grapes on this side, which is actually the side that gets the most sun. So we've got a huge amount there. It could be 10 to 20 bunches just in that one condensed little patch. I've tried to leave on as many leaves as I can because the plant still does need to photosynthesize, get its energy to be able to put into these wonderful grapes. There's some hanging down from the roof. You can see here, and there's a lovely few bunches down here also. Look at the size of them. They're going to be whoppers. Absolutely lovely. But there is now just so much more light coming in to the greenhouse for my other plants that are in here, and I don't think it's going to do the vine any harm because I've left lots of leaves on. I haven't taken off the big main structure pieces yet, but that will be getting done when it's fully dormant over the winter, I think, and then we'll just focus on having the vine all along this side, which is much easier then, and then it can put more power and more energy into producing those grapes, and you never know, they might become even bigger and more juicy than ever before. One thing I have noticed is it looks like I've got a bit of a mealybug infection. So these will, in fact, you should use gloves really, but I'm just going to take one off. It's like fur or silk, and then the mealybug is actually inside that. I think you can just see it there. It's if I can try and keep that still. So the mealybug's inside. So you need to get all these off and really dispose of them so that they don't keep there. Yeah, there we go. That is the mealybug. So what it does is it basically leaches onto the vine itself and then sucks it's almost like a leech, and it just sucks the blood or sucks the sap out of the grapevine. And I've noticed there are a fair few. So I'm just going to go around now trying to take these off, because it does damage the plant, or at least take some energy away from it. And then I'm going to put them all in a bucket and take them well away from my plot, because if you don't take them far enough, or you don't kill them completely, then they will come back again. In fact, yeah, I have got a mealybug infestation, and that was probably because the vine itself had just got too compacted, and mealybugs love it when it's damp and warm. There's more up there. Yeah, these all have to come off, and I will dispose of them. Okay, I'm really happy with that. It's taken me about 15-20 minutes, a little bit longer, just clearing up a little bit. Don't want to leave them all on the floor, because again, you can attract disease, bacteria, and that kind of thing. You don't want inside your greenhouse to get really wet and damp all the time. That does introduce blight. So anyway, hope you've liked this. This is the first trim of the year. There will be multiples, maybe every 6 weeks. I'll have to just keep it under control. But I'm made up with these bunches of grapes. I reckon I've got another 50 odd bunches. I am going to try and make some grape juice this year. So stick around. If you like this kind of thing, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye now.